welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we'll be talking about the video that Black Panther did. We'll be reacting to what Black Panther said about if EA Sports is really done with Need for Speed or not. Let's just watch the video because I think for me personally, as a Need for Speed fan, we really have a lot to talk about. I should not lie. So let's watch it.
It's so over! Need for Speed is done! Need for Speed! Need Speed.
Nah,
Silence!
to be honest.
I have something to discuss. You've seen this on Twitter, you've seen this on Reddit, you've seen this... Well, that's basically it. This is not new. This is information that we already knew about.
To be honest, guys, from the feedback from Battlefield 6, having both open beta as success, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, those two open beta was a success. I'm not going to lie. So I have a feeling we might not get Need for Speed for a while.
Here today I'm about to calm you, and actually I have some pretty interesting things that look, we need to talk about it. I played a bit of the Battlefield beta. It was enjoyable. I'll talk about whether I'm going to buy the game.
No lie, that's why I said that open beta of the Battlefield 6 was a complete success. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, big success. So right now we were upset when they wanted to shut down, when they shut down Need for Speed for Battlefield, but now that they actually made a Battlefield they actually made a Battlefield that crazy, you have no choice.
Bit later if you care. Anyway, this is where I saw it. It's Hokey Hoshi's tweet. I didn't even like it. You know why? Because it's nonsense. Let me show you. By the way, to be clear, I love Hokey Hoshi. He's a great guy. Hello, Vince Zampella. This man, as we've spoken about before, is kind of in charge of both Criterion and all the dice. Basically, Battlefield Studios. And what's that? Battlefield Studios. Criterion. When did this reveal happen? 3 weeks ago. Okay, fine. That's not that long ago, right? All right. How about this? Battlefield Studios introducing.
Each of our 4 studios comes with its own culture and expertise into what we call Battlefield Studios.
Okay, you see Criterion on there. All right. So when was this released? 4 weeks ago? 6 months ago. Yes. 6 months ago. Almost the beginning of the year. Hello, emphasization patterns here. Please look at the date of the articles and when they went live, and then please look at the date of this video that went live talking about Battlefield Studios. As you...
To be honest, the playtime in Need for Speed the playtime in Need for Speed Unbound has actually gone down rapidly, because after they finished the whole story, I guess when they introduced the Need for Speed Most Wanted into the Need for Speed Unbound, that's when people actually played it. But other than that, it has gone down.
You can see this is not new information. So that's why you didn't get an immediate, just out of there reaction from me, because ultimately, it's not that big a deal. Straight away, they've been a Battlefield studio since, well, they were completely told to stop working on anything else. We know this was a thing. This is a thing that happened over like a year ago by this point, that they became the new team that works on the campaign of Battlefield. So that's not it, because that doesn't really help anything. Me just saying, well, this has been a thing for a year. Well, that's not, it doesn't really fill you with much hope. But I promise you, this is going to be worth it. I gotta do the build-up, you know? It's Criterion in Guildford.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in Battlefield.
Let me just say it. No amount of Need for Speed EA will ever create that we actually surpass Need for Speed Most Wanted. Now, if EA want us to keep playing Need for Speed, they have to listen to us. They actually have to create what? The Need for Speed Most Wanted Rebound. Wait, did I say that right? Hold up. The Need for Speed Most Wanted remake. Sorry, they have to remake it. Then put it on a new gen console for us to play. Because if they keep making, not that Unbound was good. Let me not lie, Unbound was good, but I feel like what we need is different from what EA is giving us. So for us, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we need the remake of Need for Speed Most Wanted. I feel like that's what will blow the budget out of EA making a good car racing game. But if they keep making games like outside the Need for Speed franchise, to keep flopping.
Happy about this. I just want to shout out my
Mainly
friend.
we can focus on the single player.
Here he is!
So,
Danny Isaac!
Battlefield.
Get back on the proper game. Anyway, I've been there. This is not new. Okay, let's look at the studios, which is always funny. That why is Criterion? Is the alphabet? Whatever, doesn't matter. Criterion, DICE, which has been the main Battlefield developer for centuries, and we've got Ripple Effect and Motive. Now let's go through all of these studios because there's something I really want to point out to you which actually excites me a little bit. Some of you will be screaming copium, but hear me out. Let me ride this train a little bit. This is the Ripple Effect website, and as you can see, Battlefield is plastered everywhere. This is a Battlefield studio. They've worked on nothing but Battlefield. This is the DICE website. Here are the games that DICE are... Hold on a minute. They make racing games? What the hell? Midtown Madness 3? Rally Sport 2, Rally Sport Challenge. What the hell? Bring back my DICE racing studio. What the hell? They were racing too? Stop Criterion. I want DICE to return to racing games. I don't give a damn. This is the Motive website. Motive, once again, Battlefield. But Motive are also working on this Iron Man single player project, which is quite interesting. Hello, Emphasis Ancient Pant here again. So these are Battlefield Studios, and this Battlefield studio is working on a not Battlefield game. This is a thing.
I've not seen any. Wait, you guys should comment down below if you guys actually know about this, and if you guys want us to make a video about it, because this was silently made.
Just branding,
comment, silently
to
made.
say this studio is credited for working on Battlefield. Let's be real here. And Motive, for the most part, has been a support studio on Battlefront and Battlefield games, so... And their past projects are Dead Space, the reboot, and Battlefront, and Star Wars. You get the idea. They're like a sub of DICE. It's basically what they do beyond Dead Space. So with those out of the way, that brings us to Criterion, which has been known for making racing games, and, well, they've worked on Battlefield in the past, and of course they worked on Battlefield now. It is the focus. In fact, to the point where they worked on the last Battlefield midway through the development of Need for Speed Unbound. And that went well, didn't it? No shade to Criterion, they were just a support studio, right? But what if I told you there's kind of a reason as to why they're working on this game, and it's not 100% because EA told them to. You see, Unbound was a little bit of a polarizing game, and based on how it's performed, and of course EA themselves saying, don't advertise the game, we spoke about that, I'll link that at the end. We're also at a time where everything's more expensive, not just gaming as well, but people are being more specific about the games they want. EA themselves said they're going to focus on their own IP rather than like Marvel, which is kind of ironic, I know. And if the previous game didn't work well...
There's this main thing though, EA doesn't listen to us. We've been screaming Need for Speed Most Wanted. They still didn't listen to us. They showed us a little peek of for Speed Most Wanted. Don't get me wrong, they did, but they just brought the car out, take a picture with it, and then they disappeared after. Now they don't. Trust me, Unbound was similar to Need for Speed Most Wanted. That's what they feel like they gave us the right thing when it comes to this game. They were like, oh yes, they still load the car in the garage. You guys have to race to get it back. Similar thing to Need for Speed Most Wanted. But when it came down to it, they just didn't want to do it for us. They just followed what they are after. And they were like, you know what? Let's just toss Need for Speed Most Wanted inside the game and make everybody happy. Then crush our dream after a few years, after a few months, saying, no more Need for Speed again.
Well, and they still need time to really perfect a formula to see what happens with the industry going forward. They need some time, okay? And this time should be spent used, and therefore it's on Battlefield. They've kept people working on handling, for example, that were working on handling in Need for Speed and are now working on handling in Battlefield. There's only so much they can do in terms of that, but the fact is keeping them people around generally when that stuff doesn't really need that much focus, like handling in vehicles, it tells me an intent. We've seen it already. I say it time and time again. Need for Speed will return in new interesting ways. Need for Speed will return in new interesting ways. Need for Speed will return. I'm done. I don't keep saying this.
To be honest, I never believed any of this. I never believed it, because if they want Need for Speed to return back and they believe Need for Speed was going to return, we know how they announced their Need for Speed. Little bit of sneak peeks, little bit of leak, then gradually growing till they release the game. But no, all this is rumor. People want Need for Speed to return, not that Need for Speed is definitely gonna return. No, they already said it that 2 years, 3 years we might not get Need for Speed. So they broke the budget on Battlefield 6, giving us the most insane first-person shooter game for 2025, 2026, probably 2027, because then they'll be developing Battlefield 6 and other things inside it. Then for those 3 years, we're going to be enjoying Battlefield, but we won't remember that they crushed our dream when it comes to Need for Speed.
Now let me bring you to one of the elements that I definitely wanted to make a video about. I was thinking about making my second channel video, but like this is all now coming together to be very important. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Instead of just throwing out little tidbits of information and making everyone go crazy, I thought it made sense to just collectively piece all this stuff together that aligns and then deliver it. So maybe I'm going to have to start doing smaller bits on the smaller channel and then combination of it on this. But hey, you know, just for those that didn't know, Ridgeline Games was a studio formed to work specifically on the campaign side, the single-player side of Battlefield. And it was completely shuttered for no officially known reason, which was insane. Some people moved to other studios and so on, but Criterion then took the helm as the studio in place to basically work on the campaign while they didn't have this studio anymore. Now, I saw a video a while ago, and I hate that I can't find this specifically, but we do know there are 2 studios primarily focused working on the campaign. Not to say no one else is involved, because DICE works on basically the whole of the whole thing, but from what I can remember, I believe Motive is the other studio working on the campaign. That means, realistically, we've got 2 studios primarily on the campaign and 2 studios on the multiplayer. Now, it's my perspective that a lot of FPS games are quite easy when it comes to basically what you do. You make the maps, and the tooling for it essentially stays the same once you've got it right and in place. DICE has worked on campaigns themselves in the past, but right now they're focused on the multiplayer, which is ultimately the part that people are going to play the most. Analyst says EA plans to milk the wait. I wasn't reading. No, that's not from my mouth. That's from theirs. For everything as well. Their goal essentially is to make Battlefield on a 3-year basis, so they can get Battlefield annually, every 12 months, to basically copy Call of Duty. Call of Duty has dominated for so long and is insane at how much
so
they
get Battlefield 7 next
and
year?
They're taking advantage of the idea that right now people are kind of starved. But I'd like you to reread what that just said there, you know. Their goal is 3 studios making Battlefield. 3. 1, 2, 3. Motive,
DICE.
Ripple Effect. That. Right.
Yeah.
That's not 3! Yes, if the long-term plan is to have 3 studios, we have got 4 currently, and we had 5. That is something that I think you should definitely resonate and let sit in your brain just for a little bit of time. Okay, now this of course could be that the plan could be to have more studios. More is better. But realistically, if one of them's already working on another game, it's in early stages, and Criterion, which is definitely still hiring for Battlefield, which is intriguing. Again, to me, that would suggest that they are planning to beef up the studio with the Battlefield division, and then anyone that wants to move back to Need for Speed could probably do so. Again, this is not official, but like, that's the way I see it. To me, this says that ultimately this is not the long-term plan. They told us Need for Speed will return. They're working on the Iron Man game, and Motive, before working on the Dead Space remake, just also worked on helping Battlefield. Criterion has the heritage in racing, and they know if they will not have that genre if they don't have them working back on the game again. They themselves said they want less licensed IP. To me, Iron Man is a little bit more licensed than that of a racing game. Okay, now, you can now say whether you believe that this is just pure copium or ultimately basically what the analyst said is correct. That would make sense. I don't imagine Battlefield needing more than a 3-year cycle. 3 years sounds like a long time, especially when you're going to be using the same engine, the same tech. All that stuff is going to be pretty much stable for at least the next 3 games that all those studios are working on. When you see those changes, they would have had 9 years collectively to make any big significant changes.
We're going to have to file a petition to get a Need for Speed game, because if they are going to make 3 years of this game, trust me, we are probably going to be sitting down a long time before we actually get Need for Speed.
It doesn't sound that bad. I do think live service works better with this type of game, but honestly, what do I know about FPS games? Maybe I shouldn't comment on FPS games, but in terms of Need for Speed, if I put my brain in, I would probably be okay if we had 3 years development and multiple Need for Speed and different stories. You could have your Hot Pursuit, you could have your Need for Speed Heat, and something else new completely entirely. Now, towards the end of Need for Speed Unbound, what was obvious is that EA was specifically thinking about the idea of how can we feedback and shape the game in the future so that it has more of a return value, especially when Need for Speed has always been about 100 people, 150 at most, in development on that game at once. And no doubt they looked at the past of where Criterion and Ghost were collaborating, and they made, while forming a studio, modifying the engine to work properly with the game, and developing...
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they do this on purpose, because if EA wants to make a really good Need for Speed, they will make a really good Need for Speed that we actually love. Because look at Need for Speed Most Wanted. It was an anniversary game. I have a feeling they made it by accident. It was a fucking anniversary game. So how the hell did they make that type of game so good? Need for Speed Most Wanted made them rich, give them money, broke the bank, came out of nowhere and smashed the whole thing. Now, after that, it seems like they don't even make any good game anymore. That is really okay. We got Need for Speed. After that, we got like few Need for Speed. There's one I was playing. Need for Speed Heat. Yeah, that was good. But it seems like since they made Need for Speed Most Wanted, they just keep rushing the game, and then telling us, oh, this is what we are doing, giving us game every single time. I feel like if EA wants to make Need for Speed better again, they can make Need for Speed better again. But I don't know what they are
releasing
doing.
a game on 6 platforms with Need for Speed Rivals.
Need for Speed Rivals.
It was a lot. Besides the point, they worked on a small team and they had a small time frame. From what we know, they genuinely only had 6 months, a year at most to make that game. It wasn't the best Need for Speed, and it definitely wasn't the worst Need for Speed. But what I will say is that is impressive. And then on this future data, what I will say, what we can say officially, is that we do know, while most of the Criterion team were moved to Battlefield, and Criterion, the racing studio, was working on the racing game, updating Unbound, they did, honestly, more than I have ever seen Need for Speed do in that short a time frame.
That's what I'm saying.
The amount of stuff they did was impeccable, and I couldn't believe
if
that
they
managed to do all those things, adding fan service, adding motorbikes. Finally, you have no idea they've been wanting to do motorbikes. Clearly, we know this since Need for Speed Heat. Probably before that, they finally got drag racing back for the first time properly, and it was better than that of a full developed cycled game that was available with Need for Speed Payback. They got drifting in better than ever. They fixed the handling.
If they want to make a Need for Speed good Need for Speed game, they will make it. But I don't know why.
Year of live service. They fixed so many things, and what was obvious, and the reason it was the case, is because they were listening to fan feedback. They actually got a group of us in, and I'm gonna say it seemed like having a smaller, dedicated team was actually more beneficial for this franchise than having a massive, over-the-top, crazy amount of people that ultimately...
I thought of it that why make Need for Speed Most Wanted that good? So good. And then after that, just keep giving us garbage every single year. Like, why? Why?
Most of them probably weren't really caring what type of game they were making, and they made the decision, most of them, to move to Battlefield. Some of them were forced, I'm sure, but a lot of them made the decision to move to Battlefield because realistically the game had a direction, they knew what they needed to do. But with Need for Speed, there is a case of like they don't want to make the same game constantly, therefore that's how we got Unbound, therefore it didn't resonate very well. It's kind of frustrating to release something into the world when EA didn't push it, and of course it just didn't do as commercially well as the previous one, when all they have to do at a time when Call of Duty is being joked at constantly, all they have to do is release military FPS game and make lots of money. It makes sense to me. So I really think having a smaller, dedicated team, and that became, I think, obvious to EA themselves based on Unbound, that we can wait, they can decimate Call of Duty, and once they've received their winnings, they can fund little side projects and then hopefully decimate everything, because they want it to be top of racing. They want it to be
honest, a comeback for EA right now on Need for Speed is Most Wanted, the remake. I promise you guys, everybody will buy that shit. Well, technically, if they don't rush it and if they don't like fuck it up for us. But I feel like, I know I've said it a lot in this video, but yeah, that's the only way EA can actually steal us back. As much as they want to do, they should remake that game for us. Then after that, they can have a side project. Side Need for Speed though. I mean, but hopefully you guys should comment down below if you guys really think we need a Need for Speed Most Wanted remake.
Top of FPS games. And really, the last FPS, the last Battlefield they made was probably the worst FPS I've ever played. So I think that's in a worse state. It was in a worse state. And now it's good. So now we just do the same to Need for Speed. The official number of these developers constantly working on Need for Speed was insanely small. Insanely small. Officially, when 100 was like the top of the how many people they had, like 120 people working on like the Need for Speed Heat. It was small. Anyway, let me know what you think. Hopefully this calms some nerves. I'm still hyper focused on the idea that this is going to happen. Need for Speed is going to come. It's going to take time. It might be at the end of the generation. It might be next generation. But I'm going to be honest, we're almost at the end of the generation anyway, so does it really matter? Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let's discuss.
You guys should comment what you think down below. If we need a Need for Speed back, how long will it take though? That's the question. We feel like it's gonna take 3 years for us to get a new Need for Speed, and you guys should comment down below what you think about that, and I'll see you guys